We have a quorum. Oh. Good morning, everyone, for being here at the Contractors License Board meeting. It's now 10:03 on my clock or my watch. And please, let's call this meeting to order. Okay. Let's do a roll call, please.
Nita Bailey, Investigator Supervisor, CLB. Selena Ashland, Board Member. Rena Borja, Board Member.
Tom Keeler, Assistant Attorney General.
Michelle Santos.
Linda Ibanez, Acting Director of CIO.
Carolyn Stanley, Secretary to the Contractors License Board.
Leah Santos, Administrative Assistant.
Andy Mesa, Sylvie Investigator. Ian Winston with DPW.
Aaron Aragon, investigators.
Bernard Benevienti, Vice Chairman.
Can I get the public, please?
Richard Jones, Auditor.
Sir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John O'Connor from the Columbia Post.
Okay. Any questions so far? Anything? Let's move to item 3. Review of the minutes from July 22nd, 2021 board meeting and March 1st, 2021 special meeting. I would like to have the board please review and we want to accept, we'll accept in a later after the review.
Yes, everybody has a sheet.
Mr. Chair, did you want us to approve these or schedule for next time?
What was that?
Did you want to make a motion to, did you want us to make a motion to approve these? Or did you want to have us review and do
If
it
you-
next meeting?
If we choose to review, please go ahead and review. If you want to, we'll make a motion and move on.
I make a motion to approve the minutes subject to corrections.
Sure, okay. We accept the minutes and approve. Checking the motion.
I second the motion.
Okay. This time we accept the minutes.
All in favor?
All in favor? Okay, let's move on. Item 4. Public comments. We have the public here, present.
Yes, we have Mr. Kyle Dehilik. He is attending via Zoom, and he would like to speak on behalf of himself. Can you go ahead and unmute yourself, Mr. Dehilik?
So just Mossy. Can I get a mic check?
Sorry, hold on 1 second, sir. We're just making this a little bit louder.
Sounds good.
Can you say something?
Off a day.
Very quiet.
Oh, Can you try speaking again, please?
Today,
Oh, no, I didn't hear anything.
hello.
Hello, can you try to say one more thing?
Sounds good. Hello.
It's not loud enough.
Yeah. Does it usually get louder?
Okay.
Okay, can you try one more time?
Off the day.
There we go.
Off of the-
Awesome. Okay. Could I get a thumbs up? If I'm ready. Okay, sounds good. I got it. Thank you. Okay. Buenas and hafade, inaanhu si kayo dihilig, andonkaluna situs masi for sharing your time with me and to provide comment. I come representing myself and as a member of the Guam Youth Climate Strike, a youth collective looking to uplift the voices of youth in environmental outreach and justice. We believe in sustainable development for Guam and the region. And we appreciate the work the Guam Contractors Licensing Board has put into acknowledging the destruction upon Marble Cave and the surrounding environment committed by Samsung E and C America Incorporated nearly a year ago. Marble Cave was a beautiful and iconic cultural site that many of our friends and families would visit to enjoy the beauty of Guam. But because of reckless behavior and destructive actions, the loved site has been closed off to the people. This unjust and reckless activity underscores the importance of having strong leaders who will hold our environmental protection virtues to heart and in practice. And I wholeheartedly support the Guam Contractors Licensing Board's decision in implementing and enforcing to the fullest extent fines and other measures possible against those responsible for causing havoc upon our environment and against our collective future. We need to ensure that Guam's future and present have a place to be proud of and to be able to explore for future generations. Andongkulun na si Zeus Masi, maraming salamat po, and kiniso.
Thank you, Mr. Dahilig.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for expressing your views. Anyone else in public? Want to make a comment, anything? Sir? Okay, no comments, no questions?
German,
Yes.
Matthew's not on the Zoom, right?
No, he's not. But so Mr. Ariola is now present. And then we have somebody else, Teresa Sakazaki, who is raising her hand via Zoom. To going back to public comments. Hi, Ms. Teresa.
Hafide and good morning, members of the board. Again, my name is Teresa Sakazaki. I am happy to see and hear that the Contractors License Board is having a regular board meeting. I believe in the good work of all of the employees of the CLB, as well as in the contractors industry. I just want to voice that I'm very disappointed in the unfortunate situation with the previous protests that were recently heard by the OPA, especially in regards to G4S, as we had submitted a request to find out if a company was a licensed contractor on Guam, and receiving a response without any evocation of any type of layout or formalities, just put in a request and received a response which was submitted to the OPA. And it's unfortunate if in the event that we have individuals or companies participating in contractors type of work, scope of work, who are duly not licensed, because it goes against the very premise of what the law is, to protect to protect our citizens, our community, and to safeguard government's assets, to include financial assets, in the event that any type of contractor's work is not done properly. And so I appreciate the fact that you're meeting today, and I look forward to continued regular meetings to uphold the standards for our island, for our people, and for the generations to come. So, Dunklin is Juice Marcy.
Thank you, Ms. Sakazaki.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Do we have another one? Do we have another? public comment?
No, we're. Give me that back. No, sir, we were okay to continue.
Okay, we're good, we're okay.
Yes.
So far, yeah, any questions, any comments? Anyone? Okay, let's move on, move along, and we'll go to the section report. And the administration division.
In the absence of Maria Perez or Anita Santos, I report to the admin. We've been newly licensed contractors for the term of August 16, 2021 to February 2nd, 2022. We have a list of 53 newly licensed contractors. It's for your review under Exhibit A.
Which one is that? This is the long.
It's the long sheet, sir.
What's the difference between the highlighted yellow and the red?
The highlighted yellow on this side is the newly licensed with businesses. The highlighted on this side are the newly licensed RME, the newly licensed RMEs. There you go. With that, and then they're with established businesses already.
Please continue with it.
So that's a report from the last board meeting, stating the newly licensed. So going on to the new applications, we have 6 to be reviewed. So we have here in front of you, the list of the 6, so it's for review and approval.
This is the list of the 6, and everything is here.
Well, that's for new licenses.
Yes. That's after the resignation of Mr. Singh. So
Okay. So that'll be reviewed by the board and approved by the board, correct?
as we discussed.
Okay.
I have nothing else to report.
Okay, we have, any questions so far? We'll move on to, the investigation division. Ms. Nita Bailey.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
For our section, investigation section, we have our annual report from January 2021 to December 2021. And we have total cases of 65. 54 cases were closed and we have 11 cases open. We have an attachment exhibit for your review per investigator.
It should be in, I believe,
one
in
is
your
that?
packet.
Which one? Here.
No,
Need a report.
I don't,
You have extra copy though?
that's it. Oh, right here. And yeah, it says March 16th, 10 o'clock.
Towards the bottom of your
Yeah.
documents. No, No, the
The loose
top,
stockings.
Yeah, there.
right there. I believe it's-
No.
So the number of building permits we cleared from January to December is 962. Total citations issued 26, and the amount of issued was 43,959. That's for the whole year of 2021.
On the amount of fines issued, this is a combination of, what should we say,
It's all citations.
it's all citation.
Yeah, citations.
Is this safety issues, is this,
Safety, unlicensed, no
Unlicensed.
permit.
okay,
I just asked, I know we haven't been meeting regularly, but this is a great report, but for them, for like, we've reviewed all of them, but can you extract the open cases on just one sheet so that we know those are the open cases? So we don't have to, like, go through and my own. So if you can just extrapolate and take just one sheet that just shows open cases, so we can kind of hone in on that. And
Filter it out.
yeah. So we can review it.
So the 11,
Yeah.
do you want me to do it now or on the?
No, no, the next one.
The
just
next
so
one,
when we
okay,
grab,
yes.
We can,
We will do that,
we know what's open.
yes.
Are there any cases we need to act on today?
Right now, I'm gonna present 2021-0801, the CLB versus Samsung.
Okay,
So this is the case that we're going to present today. This is an open case, and I have submitted the status update for this case. Everyone who was given the accusation, which was issued to Samsung on November 17, and was also received by Samsung on the same day. So the board has been furnished with the supporting documents for this case. So after the 11/17 issuance of the accusation, there was an offer of settlement that was dated December 29, 2021 to Attorney Keeler. It is attached here. And then after that, after the December 29, there was a letter dated February 11th by the acting executive director, Lebanez, to recommend an offer of settlement to the board acting chairman, Bernard Benavente. It's also included in the packet. And then the latest document received for Samsung is the letter to attorney, or sent to Samsung is a letter to Attorney Berman dated March 8 to extend their notice of filing for their notice of defense until April 1st, 2022. So if the board wanted to review the documents regarding the first offer from the attorney of Samsung, and then the recommendation of the acting
So I put, how do I?
I'm gonna need this one done.
submitted for your review.
Ms. Abanez, can you summarize, because it's a lot of documents and just in a few words or whatever, so that we can get our memories refreshed or would you work, please?
Summarize the chronologic events.
I think focusing on the settlements,
Yeah.
the amounts that you came through with 300,000.
Yeah, your recommendation, what entails recommendation.
Okay, so let me go back. So I believe Samson offered a 250. So we back and looked at
250,000.
250,000, correct. So looking at cost breakdown that they submitted, right? We were looking at the quantity of work done with the soil erosion and their building plans design. So we took into account the increase on that. So that's why we counted at 300,000 based on the schedule of values for the erosion. So that's where we came into play with 300,000.
Up at 300,000.
Correct. Yeah, we counted.
And that was said to me. And my comments were, I bring to the board that we up that amount.
Are we meeting the timelines, like this offer was given to them on February 11th, and then you countered, are we meeting the timeframes?
Well, their offer was conditioned upon COB accepting it. I'm not positive the exact time frame. It was maybe a 14-day period, but obviously the board didn't meet within time frame, and they were Samsung's council was notified of such, meaning the board wasn't able to respond. But Mr. Berman has, and he's here, can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they've extended that deadline to say it remains open.
So your recommendation as acting director is to do the 300,000.
Yes.
Their offer was 250 and we countered at 300.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So
I would like the board to counter that offer to 500. Based on the erosion control, the cost breakdown was 1,137,000. So 50% out of that will be 500,000. That's my basis. And I believe we should move on to try to get that 500,000. That's. So any discussion on that, I would like to bring up right now. Let's talk about it, and I really think that we should bring it up to 500,000.
based on your review and what you laid it all on.
So yeah, with the schedule of values, we looked at it, right? And of course you can counter, but in good faith, Samson had come to the government and apologized for doing their cleanup. They have this whole crew in, and they're working diligently to accept the responsibility. So both government and contractor are working in good faith. So those are the things we have to account for too.
Mr. Chair, I realize that we, with the two people that, the public that talked, that we would like to get more, but I think we also have to recognize that we want businesses to come to Guam, stay in Guam, and they're willing, I mean, I see what they're willing to do after the fact and continue on and do stuff that is not part of what they get wrong. So I believe we should take the director's recommendation. They did do their due diligence. So we should look at that. And they did 250, we counted our 300, so 50,000 more that I believe is good. We really should look at their course in good faith, and we should look at that.
Um, Any other opinion? Ms. Soto?
I kind of agree with Ms. Borja. I accept Ms. Ibanez's recommendation of 300,000. I agree that I don't want to put, people out of business. They should be punished for, their sins, but I also I don't want just a slap in the hand, but I feel this is a good amount.
Okay. Ashland, you wanna express?
I actually have a question in regards to, I guess, the timing of things, because the party has requested an extension to the April 1st. So should we come to a number today? How does that kind of play into, I guess, the overall timing of the cities?
Okay. CLB is issued an accusation and statement of charges that obligated Samsung to respond within a certain period of time. I believe it's 14 days. The parties have worked together in hopes of reaching a settlement. And as such, the CLB has extended the time period for Samsung to respond, all of which I think is entirely appropriate. So presently, I believe Samsung has until April 1st or so in which to file a formal response to the accusation. Hopefully, and the goal is, I believe, that the board will issue something that they find acceptable. If Samsung finds it acceptable, there's settlement. If they don't, it'll be appealed and there will be a formal hearing. So.
Okay. The legalese.
Well,
No, on this one-
and actually, it's been a little frustrating in response in regards that CLB hasn't pushed the matter, the administration, and so now we have new administration, and it is being pushed, and I think it's again appropriate to either get resolution or move forward.
I have a question on the letter from December 29th. On the second paragraph, where it says it includes a dismissal with prejudice, what is that? Does that mean we can't go back and hit them for anything else? Can you explain that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that means if you reach resolution with regards to what the fine is, that's it. But understand, that's a CLB. There are separate actions, there's separate action filed by the Attorney General's office. This has nothing to do with that. This is just CLB.
Well, Ashland, you accept the 300,000?
Yeah, in terms of the 300, and taking into consideration all the other costs that are being incurred and other agencies. I think it's reasonable in taking into account the actions of the contractor, that they are making good faith efforts. I think as Rena had mentioned and called out the prejudice issue,
if we come to it, if we agree to the number today, I would say to issue it without prejudice, so it should, because this is an ongoing matter with the cleanup and stuff, right? So if, let's say, other issues are found, it gives us the opportunity to come back to it. But overall, to move forward, again, taking the actions of the contractor and not to be punitive, and I think we should consider it as a reasonable settlement offer.
Director Oriola, you got something? No. Okay. Okay. A motion to, go ahead.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendation from the director on the set of 300,000 with Samsung.
Motion to approve.
Well, I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. So would any more questions?
don't know, no board members on Zoom.
No, I don't think that.
Okay, item 6. Acting Executive Director's preliminary report to the Board of Directors.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we're updating our rules and regulation. Nita will share that on the new business. There's going to be a lengthy detailed discussion on that. During my tenure, we are revisiting our administrative protocol. What we're doing is we're enhancing the duties of the administrative side and different sections. So we're working on that. I'm working on revisiting our SOPs to deal with complaints, handling our licensing, testing, and protocols, and administrative investigation. So I'm working closely with Tom on those issues so we can adopt it. And then, of course, I'm not too sure if you guys are familiar. The governor has submitted a nominee for the executive director, which I have the letter. I don't know if they're attached.
No.
Yes. Okay. So his name is Francisco Sanchez, but I know him as Chuck. So
Sorry,
Siriaco. I'm sorry. That's such a complicated name. That's why I call him Chuck. So we're looking at that. Of course, we would have to schedule a meeting for the board to accept his nomination. And we're looking to setting that meeting on April. Yes. After confirmation with the board members. Okay.
Okay.
So yes.
Questions so far?
Is anyone opposed to the, April 1st being that meeting?
When?
April 1st, I believe it's a Friday.
Friday?
I'll be a pilot.
Of
Oh,
course.
yeah. You'll be a pilot?
I'll find-
Okay.
We can do Zoom
What's the April 1st meeting?
Of course, I'll do Zoom.
to see if you guys accept nominee from the Guam for Chuck Sanchez as a new executive director.
Okay,
Confirmation. Yes.
okay.
Okay, we're good. April 1st.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that at 10?
Yes, it'll be at 10 o'clock.
Okay, let's move on to old business. I believe we want to table this one, Mira.
Yes, I guess because Ms. Perez is supposed to be presenting this. This was taken before previous meeting. So there were some documents that the board were asking from her. So since she's not here today. Table.
You want to table this to bring it to the forward to the next meeting or just table it.
next meeting because we already wanted to actually have this classification of change to a different form of exam instead of the essay.
So until we have the proper documentation, then we'll act on it on the next meeting, yeah, right?
Yeah, it's depending on Miss Perry's availability.
Okay, then, any questions on this item?
Does Ms. Perez work for the board? Does she
No.
work for?
No, ma'am.
For contractors license board. She's the administrative officer. She's currently, I believe, on leave for medical and then,
Okay. How long is that?
well, she just started, of course, you know, the pandemic, and then her daughter is quarantined now. Hopefully she should be back in the next week or so.
Okay. Let's move on to new business. The revise, you mentioned that,
Yes.
I think there's revised rules and regulations. I guess, you wanna talk about that?
Yeah, indeed.
So, the 2009 revised rules regulations that we've been using are just actually it's not duly adopted. So we have our research and unfortunately was not. So it's, I guess, I believe it's very critical at this time that these rules and regulations should go through the process, so it will be adopted. And right now, the one that is only adopted is the 29 GAR. So the 29 GAR basically is almost like the same as the revised, but the temporary classifications under the C68 is not listed. Like on the revised, if you have our revised rules there.
And C68 is what?
C68 is a temporary classification. Typically in the GAR, it's similar until the C68 temporary classifications that were added in 2009. Starting from the above ground, underground, it's not in the GAR. So we got some recommendations also for the board to consider. We wanted to revise or have this revised adopted. So we have different about 29 altogether, 29 temporary classifications that was included in the C68 temporary. So we put here like based on the definition of the contractor on the 21 GCA chapter 70, there's a definition of the contractor. So all this temporary classifications, if we have to review, does not meet, you know, the definition. So there are some recommendations there for the board to consider, either to just remove those that does not meet the definition of a contractor with the statute, and then some of it could be incorporated to the specialty that we have already existing. We have about 58 specialties that are already adopted or in the GAR. So it's for the board's review with the definition on the device. If what will be the board's decision. These are just recommendations that we have based on also the licenses or the licenses that are already issued, all the different kinds of work that we have encountered. And it's really like very hard because like some complaints that does not actually qualify for the kind of classification that is being described, in the temporary classification. So if those classifications, I believe, does not qualify for the definition of a contract, so then maybe the board could just remove those. Or we got some recommendations here based on our experience also dealing with complaints that are being in and applications and everything. It's all in there. And there are also classifications that we believe that could be retained because it applies to construction. So we have it here. If you guys wanted to review it more fully, or you wanted to continue in the next meeting, it's the board's decision. And
This will have to go to legislation, right?
it has to, because
It has to?
this one did.
Yes, it has to. It's an adjudication process.
Yeah, this one did not go
So
through.
the first step is kind of get it together,
Yeah.
board approval, and then we go down
Don't you
to
have to review
legislation.
Yes,
Yeah.
it goes to legal.
So what it is
This one, yeah, I'm sorry to say, we've been using this for,
wait, 2009, this one has not,
2009.
is not formally.
it's not
Okay,
adopted.
so what you need to do with this one, is take this, take all these recommendations that you have, put it in this, come out with another, with a completed, with all these recommendations,
Right,
give it to him to review.
correct.
When he reviews it, then it comes to the board. I'm asking,
Yes.
this is the
Yeah,
process.
Yes,
Sure,
correct.
sure.
Yes,
That's the process, so
That's the
it
process.
could take a while, so my recommendation is you guys put this in here and then bring it to him. Then when he reviews it into us, because right now, we're not gonna go take this and go and say, okay, that's your job. So when you put that together, then we can, it's hard for us to look at this and go back and say. So maybe in this document, which I'm sure you have it, is to highlight what you're taking from here to put into here so that we can review it. Okay, because right now. it's been a
It's a
couple
lot
of
to
days.
absorb, you know?
I understand. I'm just putting it out there, because
Yeah.
in case there is more. So because now we're moving forward,
Correct.
if in case we miss something on our side, the board
You
can,
can't catch everything, but
Yeah.
is there a catch-all we can use to, are you talking about the different types of work?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
think that's when we work with Tom on the language, once we
Yeah,
start.
yeah, maybe there's a
working
catch-all
on the
that will
draft,
include
yeah.
future.
yeah,
Disciplinary requirement.
yes.
You should have a
So,
deadline.
Yes, we will. We will, trust me, we will have a deadline.
so then, we can do a draft and submit it to legal counsel, and then it will be brought back again to the board when everything is reviewed by legal counsel.
Are these the only updates that we see so far since 2009?
Yes,
Because, yeah, I agree with Board Member Rita. I mean, it's been 2009, so, while we're at it, if we're gonna approve this, let's get it up to date, 2022. Figuring out whatever all the issues are and what other provisions we need to do to get
Don't you have
updated.
to have a public
Let's do that.
hearing?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you put all that,
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna take.
Yeah.
But my comment is I concur with Director Ariola, the COB's basic statute is antiquated. It was passed 50+ years ago. So, what you're proposing to deal with is just simply the regulations, which is licensing aspect of it. I think at the same time, that is reviewed. I think it's also appropriate to review the statute and see what should be graded there. Because again, statute, it's like 4 pages long. It's a very, very simple statute. I think it should be upgraded and revised. At that point, you can revise the regulations.
All right.
Are there any applications though for?
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions that we have also here. So, question is, what will be the board's action on those that are currently licensed under the temporary C6A classifications? Because we have issued a lot of this.
Well, the answer is if you haven't, if the regulations haven't been duly enacted, you have no authorization
Yeah.
to license anything on that.
Mhm.
So that's one of my concerns is, this 2009, this 2022. For the past 13 years, the COB has been issuing licenses for activity that it simply doesn't have authority to do.
Right. So Nina, how soon can we get this going?
We can present it in the next regular meeting.
So we will prepare everything and then.
Okay, well,
Remember,
we have
Oh, I
review
mean,
process.
what I mean is, we
Modify.
can give it for the review of the legal counsel,
Yeah.
and I believe, I guess, what I
Well,
mean is,
I
we
think it's fair to say that
Sorry.
you're not able to properly review the statute within that time frame.
okay,
Yes,
so we will,
If all you want to do is rubber stamp what was proposed in 2009, then yes, you can do that.
Remember what I'm requesting is, it's been since 2009. So let's get it updated 2022 with whatever issues and provisions that you believe board should consider.
Mhm.
And then we'll take it there. But I think it's gonna take a couple months. I mean,
It's a huge undertaking, so
Yes.
it's either you have a staff that's gonna do
Yes.
this or volunteers to be on this, sorry, travel. To help with, because it's researching the statutes. Anybody from your office second?
I'm not volunteering.
Yeah.
we'll try our best to expedite it, because right now we have cases that are pending that falls under this, so I guess we just have to dismiss those cases. The killer.
If those cases relate to sub licenses, et cetera, that the board has no authority to issue, then the answer would be yes. You can't enforce something that is not authorized.
Okay, we'll move on. Any questions? Item B. This is review current appointment of authorization for the executive director to approve or deny any application. Can we comment on that? I don't understand it.
Okay, so the minutes are presented, it was from August 21st of 2019, where you guys had given the executive director the approval to, or the authorization to approve licenses. And then Ms. Ibanez had asked the question of, could it be brought back to the board for approval instead of the executive director? Is that correct?
so, yeah, we have some instances with the license, right, the new application. It's a broad area. I see there is administrative errors on it, and it's correction based on the executive director's decision. But what I understood the last board meeting, it was only when the application is refined, approved, and clean, right? That was his, given the authorization. But during my my work ethics here, I see that it has extended out to other mishaps. So now that I'm coming back on the authorization, do you guys want to review all the license? Because as you know, we have not formally adopted all of these other requirements. And so that's where the gray area is at.
I believe when we came in,
Mhm.
there were like 800 new applications and everything was being held.
Yeah.
We are not gonna sit here and go over that
Mhm.
every single one of them. The idea was the director and the staff who are knowledgeable more than us. We're gonna review these and then approve or disapprove. And if there are issues, those are the ones brought to the board so
Okay.
that we can discuss it and say, what's the merits on it. It was not to give a blanket. It was intended that those 700, 800 would be reviewed. You guys all reviewed them and then pass the ones that are necessary. And then those are issues you bring to the board. And that went long, but I believe maybe it just gotten out of hand.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not-
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna
to date, we
yeah.
had never, no applications were ever presented,
Princess, that was a
so,
problem.
Okay.
yeah.
That is my understanding also, is
Yeah.
that the executive director could sit there and process items that were simply administrative items.
Mhm.
Okay, and those could be processed. If there were issues related to a particular examination or a proposed licensee, then yes, that could be brought to the board. But as far as what I would consider administrative items, those just process through. The board would be provided a listing of licensees that were approved, etc. There's no reason for the board to get involved in day-to-day licensing.
Understand, at least the clarity is there, because the situation was, it was like a blanket, my understanding, and so now there's clarity, we'll address it.
It was the same with renewals,
Mhm.
because there are a lot of renewals and people have been waiting, even though COVID got in the
Yeah.
way. But there are renewals for a year and people, they gotta continue their
Yes,
business.
correct.
So those are all pending. And that was something that, if it just straight new renewals and if they were due, if they had a fine or something, and they pay it, I mean, you continue on. So
Mhm.
that was one of the reasons, because 200 renewals for a year and a half,
Mhm.
just, they gotta do business.
Yes.
That's what we were holding their hands by
Okay.
not passing this.
That's correct.
Okay.
So it's still status, okay,
Still
we'll
stands,
continue,
yes.
okay.
Okay, item C. Let's move on to item C. Status update on Chairman James Cosalo's leave of absence. I believe the chairman is, he's on sick leave, correct? Or-
Medical.
He's,
What's your status? Anybody know? His status?
In the past, Lily has made phone calls, and now they're not being answered. I've sent emails, the same emails I've sent you all regarding meetings, and they got answered. So it was brought up to bring it up to the board, or to see what we would like to, what you guys would like to
So
do.
can we assume it's an abandonment?
Wasn't there some sort of communication
Oh.
from Lily indicating that
Oh, yes.
he was not going to be involved in the board anymore?
Sorry, yes, she had
It was,
mentioned, go ahead.
Can you
Yeah, it was
comment on
mentioned
that?
that Mr. James Casalo had asked to step down.
Okay, well,
But I believe, speaking with Mr. Weekly, Michael Weekly from the governor's office, he had asked that maybe the board can propose to recommend another board member to the board,
Well,
What
to the
is,
governor. to
what does the
recommend.
statute say the number should be?
the statute talks about 4 elected members.
And-
And then you have revenue and taxation,
Vince?
public works, and a third party who I can't recall at this point. So if the board was going to take action, I think it'd be appropriate to accept Mr. Costello's resignation. I don't know who appointed him. So I don't know whether he's one of the 4 members at large or whatever. If he is one of the 4 members, then I think the request
Yeah,
would
he's
be
appointed by
for
the-
the,
Force election. Yeah, it was appointed by the governor.
right, so
Yes.
the request would be for the governor.
Yeah, the
to
governor will
appoint
recommend, but it's your motion to make
his
a,
replacement.
yeah.
So it's,
Due to the absences.
so our,
No, due to.
But no.
His comment saying he wasn't gonna be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Step down.
he was stepping
I can print
down.
out the.
Yeah.
so the discussion for now is to who would be the chairman replacement.
The
Board member.
discussion is accept his resignation to request the governor to appoint a replacement. The board then determines who's chairman.
But the governor's has the,
I think the nominee.
to give us the
Another
appointment.
replacement.
Yeah.
So the-
Sure.
are we taking action to select chairman now or?
No,
No.
we have to wait
I
until the
think
new
you're,
year.
I think you're looking to accept the resignation and request the governor appoint a successor
Yeah.
board member, and then the board will subsequently determine who the chairman is.
So do we need a motion?
Yes.
I move-
Has he resigned?
Motion to accept,
He's
Okay.
apparently
He sent an
stated
email.
that he's
He,
stepping down.
Yeah.
yes, I believe to
So-
Mr. Orsini. According to Lily, he did either write an email or speak to Mr. Orsini that
There's something in
he.
writing?
Yes.
There is something, we got
So
to.
I think you can rely on that.
Okay. As long as we got something in writing.
Yeah, and as long as he's included in it, so he's put on notice, if he wants to object, he can object, but I think he
At this
hasn't
point.
been here for an extended period of time. I think it's reasonable to accept his resignation.
all in favor? To
Oh,
accept
we
the
have to
resignation.
motion.
Oh, motion, I
Motion
think,
to accept
no,
it.
she
All
motioned.
in favor? You know,
Yeah, she did. Okay.
maybe I'm too
Second.
quick, but
Yeah. We're doing things
Okay,
back.
so. Yes. Miss Michelle first. Miss
And then
Rena
Rena
second, and
second.
then
Yeah.
Kenny do a vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, the next scheduled board meeting will be April 2022 at
There's
10
April
a.m.
1st.
Course is a special.
Yeah.
Yes. So
You have
this
to
is
notice
for the
that.
regular,
You have to notice
but
that.
then we had just spoken about the first, April 1st for the special to accept Mr. A review and accept Mr. Chuck Merchant as our new director.
That will be April 1st.
April
But it
1st.
wasn't on the agenda.
Which one?
EMI.
Okay, so
EMI.
the next meeting will be
It wasn't on
April
the
1st to
agenda.
accept Mr. Soriaco Sanchez
It's the county.
as director.
settlement.
The regular meeting on April 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions?
Mr. Chair, have we resolved what is it, the JMI
Lindsay.
airport Menzies issue?
No, sir, it's still
Because I-
pending.
Yeah, okay, so is that case still open then?
Actually,
It was addressed at the last
Special
special boards meeting. And it was, the board voted to rescind and I'm trying to remember the
The
exact
decision,
term,
finding a decision.
findings and decisions.
Yes.
Okay,
So
Now we gotta.
that's the status of the case. There's an
so
open,
it's still open then?
still open,
Okay,
but the board determined that the prior executive manager did not have the authority to issue a findings and decisions.
Order, yeah.
so
So
the,
that part of it's rescinded.
okay,
The rest of it moves forward, I guess.
okay, so the investigation will continue. There will be a findings and decision, at least a draft or something presented to the acting director and then, or executive, and then presented to the board, correct? By staff?
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify it because we're moving forward with the investigation, but there was
Yes, so,
a complaint from the attorney of Menzies that I I don't know, like all our investigations that we will be doing because we're planning of doing a site investigation. So we are coordinating with the employee of Menzies so we can get a pass to the airport to go there and do the actual site investigation. But I was advised just
Why do you have to go through Menzies? Why don't you go through the airport?
because they will be the one to show us, the work that is involved, in this scope.
The airport can do that as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah, go ahead.
concerning the recent communications, CLB staff has continued its investigation, which is perfectly proper. But once staff is placed on notice that a plaintiff party is represented by an attorney, they're required to include legal counsel in those communications. So that's the present issue. Obviously, or to me, it's obvious. If you're investigating a party and you know they're represented by legal counsel, you just can't communicate directly with the individual. So,
Yeah, I sent you the email that further communication, both parties have to have legal representation when you do your site inspection or any exit interview.
So how do we
Yeah.
proceed?
Yeah,
Or do we proceed with the investigation?
yes, you absolutely want to proceed.
Okay.
That's been notified to staff.
Okay,
But if you're going to do an on-site investigation or anything of that nature, there's a right for legal counsel to be present. So, I mean,
Okay.
it's simple,
Yeah.
it's straightforward.
okay, that's fine.
So if we schedule now for a site, we have to inform legal counsel of Menzies that will be conducted.
Absolutely.
Fine.
Okay,
Okay, we'll do that.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
Because,
Can we just note that real clear in the minutes, the investigation will continue
Yes.
and the board will await the
Yeah, and
draft
I-
findings or findings from the,
Yeah, and I want to make clear that my response to CLB was to encourage continuing with the investigation. I'm not trying to curtail the investigation in any regards. I'm just trying to make sure that the complainant or the parties involved has the right to be represented.
Yeah, and my position is that our standard operating procedures, how we how do we handle complaints needs to be set in stones because we don't have that. And that's why we're missing the step with this legal representation. So that was my stance when I gave you the directive, is we don't have anything in written stones how to handle complaints.
I think we
Yeah.
have, actually, it was in our website. It was during the time of Mr. Rossini, there was SOP, it's actually in the website.
Well, we didn't handle this properly and I was working with legal.
So the thing that was overstepped there, I guess, if you have to follow the existing SOP that we have right now, because we already have received the complaint, we issued a notice to appear. So the next step would be do a site investigation. But before we did that, that letter came, so we were not
It's
able
okay.
to.
So we'll work on it, Nita, but going forward, we're gonna have to have an SOP and how to handle complaints.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah, I'd also like to
Yeah.
point out for the record, and I plan on preparing
Yeah.
some standard protocols.
Yes, and I informed the staff that I'm working closely with you.
Had thought it was clear to staff that once you get any attorney involved, the idea that you're dealing directly with an attorney
Yeah, and that was
and you're
what,
not
Yeah.
coordinating with my office, I'm not certain what the proper term would be, possibly silly. Dumb. I don't know what the right term is, but COB staff should not be competing with attorneys. That's just open and
Yeah.
shut,
It's been,
black and white.
Okay, there are also like documents that we have submitted for your guidance and we never received a response.
Show
You
them
know,
to
I'm
me.
so sorry. I mean, but that's, like, it's very hard on our side also because we know that you have a lot, in
yeah,
your
Anita,
plate.
that's why I asked if you can channel it to me
Yeah.
and we'll go
Yeah,
from there.
at
But
that
we'll work together.
At
Okay,
that time, during the time of Mr. Orsini,
Yeah. okay,
okay.
thank you.
Okay,
And then last, I guess for the next meeting, if we can go one by one, I prefer to do that. I think just following up on board member Borja's request also, just to go one by one on all the investigations that are still open.
Okay.
Just get a status report as specific as possible.
I'm hoping so.
okay. Any more questions?
It's
Felicia?
an annual. We will do our monthly.
Okay, so just to repeat again, April is the special meeting to accept the new director. And any more questions, we will join the meeting.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you all.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
11:09, sir.
11:09.